Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Hello. I'm currently in the library right now. It is 6:38 p.m. Monday, September 22nd. Um, I was just getting some things done. One thing that I like to do is check out different libraries. I know people like going to different coffee shops and stuff, and I like that too, but I don't know. There's something about the library. I guess it's like nostalgic, sentimental because that's all I ever was like in high school. I was always at the library. So I don't know. Sometimes it just kind of invokes that feeling, but also just, I guess, there's like a psychological component to it. You're just surrounded by a lot of different people who are like locked in and on top of whatever it is. And it kind of like stimulates you and it diffuses onto you. And you start like locking in yourself. I don't know for whoever's new, or I don't know, I got like 10 views in the last video, but um this is just me speaking on some random things, various things. And one thing that I've realized is that with ADHD, uh there's this thing called like body doubling, I think, something like that, where you just have like a presence in the room and it kind of just forces you to be on top of whatever it is that you need to do. And I guess in a way, that is for someone who masked their entire life, that kind of helped. But, anyways, so yeah, because if I went back home, I was at an appointment earlier, and if I just went straight home, I would not want to do anything, right? I really struggle with that. So, um, I figured it's like there's like multiple like benefits from coming to the library. I guess it just helps that I already have like an affinity for libraries and I genuinely want to check different libraries out. So this just adds to it. But like there's already inclination and incentives there. It's not like one of those things where I just know I'll focus here and overall, like, I dread being in the library, if that makes sense. But anyways, so I'm here and I'll be leaving soon, but I figured I'd record a video real quick. Um, the topic for today is Fred VanVleet. For those who don't know who Fred VanVleet is, he is a basketball player, a professional basketball player for the Houston Rockets. He plays in the National Basketball Association. He's a long-standing veteran. Um, Probably going to be a Hall of Famer, given the criteria of the Basketball Hall of Fame. But um, for those who don't know, I'm a Houston Rockets fan, and Fred VanVleet joined our team 2 years ago. And he has this rep around the NBA as a culture setting, tough nose, workaholic, which I don't doubt. uh, you know, or I don't disagree. It took him a lot to get to the NBA, and I respect that. I respect his story. I honestly used to be a pretty big fan of him. It wasn't until he joined our team and I realized the I don't even know what to say to just terroristic nature of this guy, for lack of a better word. Van Vliet, respect the story, respect what he's done and everything, sure, but he stopped being a good basketball player in 2021, 2022. And if you look at like Toronto Raptor fans, uh, what they had to say about him towards like the end of his Raptors stint, you can see like they knew, like they were just early to it, right? Like never wrong, just early. But actually, I don't know if I can say that about Raptors fans. I'm playing. I don't have nothing against Raptors fans, but um, in all seriousness, they were like done with Fred VanVleet by that point. And it was because Fred VanVleet, everything that he used or did to get to where he was, the moment he became an all-star, this just something changed in him. And granted, like there's a lot of wear and tear mileage on his body. Nick Nurse was his coach, and those who know Nick Nurse, like he is known for limited rotations and just overplaying his stars and insane conditioning and huge emphasis. He's a defensive minded coach. So, anyways, Fred VanVleet is barely 6 foot and he's overweight. You know, as the game gets more fast paced, people get more athletic. That's just on an evolutionary level. Fred VanVleet is limited. And statistically speaking, and biologically speaking, it's just not, it just doesn't make sense. Like, obviously, he's going to start to regress. And the things that he's known for being this tough nosed defender or whatever, it's not there. He's undersized, he's food. But it's so crazy that him being a light skin, there's something about pretty privilege and the halo effect and just this confirmation bias, or I don't know, he had that rep was created for him and that's all it is, and that's all people will ever associate him by. He is in a relationship with Ime Udoka. I swear to you, I have never seen anything like their dynamic. I truly, I love what Ime Udoka did in terms of like establishing this culture. He's a good coach. He's a player's coach, and I fuck with him. He stood up to LeBron, and he doesn't take BS from anybody, you know, and he instilled this really good mindset into our team, and I will always be grateful for that. But he is very limited offensively. But for some reason, there is just this affinity that he has for Fred VanVleet. And it truly has gone beyond like professional and HR standards. The way Fred VanVleet stunted Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet is a high volume, high usage player. He has horrible shot selection, shot diet, and he is very limited in what he can do. And granted, this does tie into Ime Udoka's like offensive philosophy, his offensive limitations. Um, the set in terms of like the sets he's running, the plays he draws up. He really, his bread and butter is a PNR with pick and roll with Fred VanVleet and Alperen Şengün. And that shit was exposed in the playoffs. I mean, it was exposed in the regular season too, but the playoffs really exposed it. But for some reason, Ime and Fred have an insane rep. They have this incredible rep, and I just don't understand. And this video is more centered, it is centered towards Fred VanVleet. So I'm gonna like stop like steering over or veering to Ime Udoka, even though like granted he enables Fred VanVleet into committing those said terroristic acts. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, again, the style and nature of my videos, again, just to preface, is that I'm speaking very raw, unfiltered, no research, nothing, just going off of my schema and what's just coming into my mind. And so I'm sorry for the incoherence and the lapses and what have you, but I feel like I'm still drawing or driving my point across. For some reason, people have this really insane perception of Fred VanVleet, and no matter what he does, it's just never his fault. He's always absolved of criticism. He is never benched for like poor performances. He has a random legacy game every 10 games where he finally shoots good or decent, you know, decent like true shooting percentage, whatever. And and that's all it takes for people to forget everything else. I'm telling you, this guy is not good. He is not. If he could accept a limited like roll off the bench, I would appreciate that. You know, he can do his whole coaching bullshit whatever on the bench in a limited capacity. There's no reason for him to be playing 35 plus minutes in the big 2025. And, thoughts and prayers to him regarding his injury, the ACL tear. But I, there are silver linings. Obviously, I'd never want the guy to get hurt, and I feel for him truly. But I think the casuals, the media, NBA Twitter, these people who only consume basketball, for some reason, there's a cognitive dissonance that comes with Fred VanVleet. I think Jalen Green being on our team is a big reason. I don't know the exact psychological term, but for that reason, I mean, Jalen Green was a scapegoat, and a lot of like deficiencies and holes of certain players, people didn't really like fixate or objectively critique because Jalen Green, right? Jalen Green is just the ticking time bomb, the disaster, the inefficient, the gay leaning, whatever people have against him, bro. Who knows? And that literally shielded Fred VanVleet. It extended his career. It gave him an extra, I don't know what his new contract renewal is, but he's making like 40 million or some shit. And thanks to Jalen Green. So I'm going to say it right now. People will be surprised to see Reed Shepherd blossom. I'm worried about Aaron Holiday. He's also a terrorist coming off the bench, and he's going to have an elevated role. I'm not excited about that. But Reed Shepherd will blossom. Reed Shepherd is a positive defender. Reed Shepherd is able to, what is it called? He can play the passing lanes. He can play, he's a great off ball defender, but he also, point of attack, POA, whatever. He is an incredible on ball defender, truly. Like, and he has insane hands, reflexes. It's like Chris Paul esque. Like he has like rare defensive like acumen. Couple that with his 3-point marksmanship, bro. For all those crying over Fred VanVleet, I'm sorry. Just wait. If Ime expands his offensive philosophy given Şengün's FIBA performance and no Fred VanVleet and Kevin Durant, I promise you, bro, the Houston Rockets are going to be amazing.